Hello and welcome to Model Railroad Design's Roasts. This is the video series diving into your layout submissions with expert insights and a sprinkle of fun. We'll review each design respectfully, offering tips to refine your track plans, scenery, or operations, all to fuel the passion of model railroading. Want your layout featured? Check the link down below. Let's kick things off today with a submission from Sam. So here's the design. And we notice immediately there's a lot of track, so expect some chopping and cutting in that department. The benchwork, the shape is actually quite nice, and there's a door here down below, and lift gate. So I actually like the shape. It's quite good use of space. I like these around the room layouts if this is the space that you have. The benchwork is actually already built, so we have some pictures of that. So you see that's Sam's chair. And this is one half facing the other direction. This is the other half. So the door would be here on the left in the corner. This is what a lift gate would be. There's a window there. Yeah, that's what it is. So let's go back. One thing I have here is this lift gate, 26 inches. That is not a lot. So I think we need to have a look at that. 66 centimeters. That's not a lot. I'm not the biggest guy, well, not the fattest guy, let's put that in the world, but that's a bit tight. So we'll have a look at that. Now, whether you like lift gates or don't like lift gates, do like this video as that helps a lot. Now, what do we see in terms of trackage and the buildings? We have a double track main line going all around. I shall try to highlight that quickly so you know which two tracks those are, like that. And the buildings, I do want to make some notes on that. So we have diesel service, diesel house here, caboose track. This diesel house is quite a big building, quite tall. We have an RIP track here, caboose track, a shop building. In the bottom, we have a whole second depot for steam, because he wants to run excursion trains with steam. I believe he was modeling, what did they say? Early modern. So I guess that's the 70s, early modern. Depends a bit on when you were born, but I think it's the 70s, maybe the 80s. Yeah, so we basically have two facilities on a relatively small layout like this. So I don't, yeah, we'll have a look at that. And then we have a really mix of buildings. We have farm supply and feed mill, which is quite rural. Water Street Freight is more of a city building, if I'm not mistaken. Then we have some sheds, freight shed, storage shed, fine. Railway Express Agency is a 3-story building, or 2. So it's also more for the city. Printing company, can be anywhere. And Trackside Post Office, I think these are more for large passenger stations, but I could be wrong. Up here, furniture factory, feed mill, fine. And these, I guess, are other industries. Yes, what does this say? Well, there's fireproof storage and transfer background building. Yeah, I think those are quite tall, like 3 or 4 floors high. So a bit of a mix of buildings. So let's streamline some of this and let's try to clear this stuff up a bit. I want to start with this double track main line. I don't think it's a good use of space, to be honest. So I'm just gonna cut it out. Let's just do it as we go and just try to make some sense out of all of it. And like we did in the other roast videos, it's just sketch in what might be a good alternative. That's all we're doing right now, we're sketching. So immediately you see this really clears things up a bit. Get rid of some of these turnouts we don't need anymore. I'm just going to connect the dots a little bit so we don't lose track of what we're doing. And now there is the main line, such goes through here, which is interesting because we have this one track. Okay, this is like a branch, supposed to be branch or something. This siding will be useful, to be honest. I think we should keep that. So I'm just going to quickly plop in some tracks. Don't look too much at the dimensions. That's not really accurate, but just so we know what's happening. And then this engine, I think really it would look better to have the steam for the excursion train and the modern facility, or was it early modern, to combine it a bit. This diesel house is really big. Personally, I would take it out and I would just leave these tracks like this, extend them maybe a little bit like that, and you already have your service right here. And in modern day, the engines would very often just be parked right here for the night. Maybe put this service a little bit in the beginning of the tracks. That's a bit what it is. And have an engine shed here for the steamer. That's the one you want to preserve. That's the one you want to have out of the rain. And just let the rest be a bit. And then this track you can use for the passenger cars. Or you could even, that's maybe not a bad idea, just move this up a bit because we don't really have the space and the luxury to have long pieces of track everywhere. And connect it like this. Have this one go off a bit to the side, something like that. And then you can park your passenger cars there. And then have your caboose and maybe some maintenance of way equipment here, or maybe some extra engines right there. And then I'll put the water facility somewhere here in this region, and a small sand or a little coal crane facility. Let's take that little crane there, make that for coal, because this is just your excursion train. You know, you're not going to have high volume of coal being shoveled in massive big boys, right? Because this coal facility that's drawn way here in the right bottom, that's going to be too big, I think. Yeah, I mean, I wedged this into my own layout twice, and to be honest, it's such a big thing and a pain in the rear end to put it somewhere, and then you don't really get a lot of enjoyment out of a coal tower. At least I don't. So I would take it out. I would advise take it out. And then all of a sudden now we have one facility for all the engines. I think that makes more sense on a layout this size. This you can just connect up to here, have the rib track in there. You do want to have this run around here to service the yard somewhat. And actually this yard, so let's say you're by yourself and you're going to run the excursion train in loops around the layout and you want to do some switching to the yard, you need a yard lead. And we don't really have a lot of space here to add a track, you know, that goes out somewhere like this. That's a yard lead. I'm just sketching it in. So we don't have this. We don't have this turnout configuration. So what I would then maybe suggest is do add and have this come off here. So you have a little bit of a double mainline feeling going on. Oh, switch that, put a switch there. And then let it join somewhere well before the lift gate, somewhere here. So what you can do is that when you have a train running around and it's on the track here, whichever direction, you can go around like this and join back up to the main line whilst you are switching, and this is your yard lead right there. I think that will look great and also be a very effective use of space. This yard office, please angle it a little bit. Yard tower as well. Look where the windows are and angle it as well a little bit. Will look much better. And I think that's that side sorted. This lift gate is too small. I think can we just try to move that over a bit? I think you're really going to thank your future self if you can make that a little bit bigger. Because what are we at now? Then this would be 33 inches. All that much better. About 80 centimeters, yeah, 33 inches, good. I think that's good use of that space. If the layout here on the left is open, then this radius, which is a whopping 32 inches, is great. Modern times, long cars, 80 footers, 85 footers, you want to have big radius, but you're only really going to enjoy it if you can see it from the outside of the curve, and you're not. So you could really opt to, what is it, 32, maybe just make it, well, let me see, 90, that's not 32, like 28 or something. Let's make it a little bit tighter. You know, you don't really need that radius. I mean, you're not really in this case going to use the space otherwise. Let's say you would do that. Let's just sketch this in a little bit. Can't see how much space we can save. This would be the inner line then, and the outer one above, probably one bit more than 2-inch spacing, but you get the idea of the sketch. Yeah, you could save some space here, you know. just really get these guys. Come on. Yeah, it's not a bad idea. And then here you can have, because this radius is tighter, you need to move this over. You want to have a straight, let's say onboarding. I'm going to use that word, a straight onboarding to the lift gate. And that's now possible because we have a more space because of the curves. Here you want to curve turnout, take one of the Walters one, I would suggest. The Walters ones are quite good. I have one of myself. Just get one of these guys in there. That would do the trick. Maybe a bit of a bigger one. Yeah, and then this little space would just benefit this area. Put some bushes on the inside, put more bushes and trees on the outside to blend it all in a bit. I think that will look nice. This would remain, keep more or less same. The yard I wouldn't really touch. I mean, it's a really big yard for a layout like this, but then again, that's a little bit what we want in the hobby. And this track, you're trying to cheat a bit by not having any yard, but go off to the end of the layout. Fine. Now, if you want to see other roast videos and videos like this or new layout design videos a week before everyone else, please do consider becoming a member of the channel. It really helps to keep the channel viable and you get some precious time in return. Yeah, and then down here, what are we going to do down here? What are we going to do down here? I think this can now, we don't really immediately need this because we took away the engine facility. And this depot can stay somewhere around here. Don't worry, we're going to fill it back in a bit. But I think we need to give this a little bit of story, a little bit of, yeah, give it something. So the first thing I would do, and let me just move these sheds out of the way, put them there because we do want to use them. Is what's the story? Well, the story, I think a nice story is that this line actually continues as a double main line and goes straight here off the layout like that. Let me just add another track here. Just to tighten it up a little bit. Yeah, this continues straight off the layout. And then the one that connects up here is actually a branch that comes off from here. And this is a branch, so you probably want to have a crossing as well from this side to that side. And with that, these are, yeah, meant to be turnouts. And then all of a sudden now we here have, for our little layout coming in from here, a siding, which we can use for runarounds and switching and all kinds of stuff. And by having the main line go straight here, then we have a little bit of story as well, that the layout continues, or the world is bigger and continues here. So you still have the continuous running, but we just have a little bit of a different story and how to, yeah, filling this in. I think that will be nice. And all this stuff, I think we organize it a bit. I saw that you drew in all the buildings, but let's organize it a little bit. Let's get this farm supply, this out of the way. And I feel yeah, I don't know. I feel we should go a little bit towards a somewhat rural urban area. I'm contradicting myself, but let me put in a road. Let's put in a road here. Let's see how this is going to look. Somewhere like this. The road, and we'll go here off the layout. And then what do? We go that way probably. Something like that. And this road, we got this to more than the edge of the layout. And then we go here. Cross the track. Something like that. You get the point. It's a road here. And then all of a sudden, what if we just move the road to the back? If we can get another piece of track here, I mean, do check your turnouts and your radii, but as you see, we need to, it's always very dangerous to sketch like this. You should always underestimate how much space you actually need for certain configurations and trackage and turnouts. And we have this railroad here. Just follow the road, and all of a sudden, so sorry, I had to make some more space there. So something like this, I think that would be nice. And then we can have a track like this. We can still use this. Just comes off of here. So something like this, switch some stuff around, some turnouts around. And something like this. If we also make this a number 4 turnout, which I think is totally justifiable, then voila, change the angle a bit. Okay, you need to obviously make this fit a bit better, but you know what I mean, right? And all of a sudden, this road gives a little bit more purpose. And look how straight this is. I'm sure this is one of the angles that you can buy of the turnout, of the crossing, sorry. And have the road go over. The road, maybe you can move the road over a little bit more to this side, a bit more up. It's becoming a mess quickly. Voila, something like that. And have it here. You could opt to push it down a bit to have the road like fully modeled, but I think you don't really need to model the road, to be honest. And then here on this side, perhaps we can continue this train of thought, no pun intended. So we'll put another turnout here. And this is industry stuff, right? So this is a 30-inch radius. This outer one is like 32 and a half it should be. Why don't we make this a little bit tighter? Why don't we make this, let's not go wild, but let's just make it a 24-inch radius, which I think is completely acceptable. And look how much space that saves. Then you can go in from here and then connect that up to there. And then you can even, going back to the scenery side of things, have this road split off here and connect somehow, go into the backdrop, you know, just to have a little bit more that filled in a little bit more. Have this little bit more of an urban, yeah, situation. Could put another industry somewhere here if you wanted. Have some buildings here. Okay, I know this is not a city building, but you know what I mean. Have some city buildings here. Have a little, yeah, a little bit of city town edge feeling. Just to, yeah, to liven it up, spruce it up. Put that one there. Another residential, sorry, put some other commercial building here. I think that would work quite well. Yeah, something like that. So we tackled most of everything that we wanted. Diesel house, liftgate bigger, yeah, storage. You have a passing siding here. You can do your have a yard lead here. We have that going around. We made the liftgate bigger, talked about that. This is a fun switching area. Yes, yeah, you can add these in the backdrop. I would then just make it a 1-track and connect it to wherever and just have a few industries, backdrop industries. Actually, like the ones you have up here. Put those here. Here's something bigger. And don't put too much here. Maybe some bushes, etc. Connect these up. Yeah, great. I think, yeah, that's the roast for today, guys. Check out modelrailroaddesigns.com if you're looking for a totally custom layout, or if you want to buy a track plan that I've already made. There's links from there, or check out my store. Check the link down below if you want your design to be roasted. That's all for today, folks. Thank you very much. Bye bye.